Hey guys, what's going on? This is Markstrom here, and today I'd like to present the 0.10 Escape from Tarkov patch notes by Battlestate Games. This will not cover all of the patch notes as there were quite a few, but I'll be going over the ones that I believe are the most exciting or will be the most impactful. If you just want to read through them yourselves or if you'd like to follow along, I've linked up the patch notes in the video description below. If you'd like to kick back and just have me read through my favorites and provide some light commentary, stay tuned. Alright. Patch Notes 0.10, the updated patch notes by my man Blackbird. Alright lads, the patch you have been waiting for 0.10 will be released September 18th. You can find an updated list of patch changes below. There will be no wipe. Personally, I think a lot of us are pretty ready for a wipe. I understand that like nothing that they're introducing requires a wipe and therefore there won't be one. But for me right now, I mean, I think most of us who've been playing the game consistently hit level 40 2 weeks ago at the very least. You know what I mean? Unless you just started this patch or if this was your first patch, then I understand, right? First patch, you're always like behind and that's okay. But, I think the vast majority of the player base is 40 plus or has started a second account. I think that's basically the case. So I think I would have liked to see a wipe. I don't think it's necessary. I think ultimately in the long run, we have to test, you know, just how much, just how juicy the game is without any wipes, right? Because I mean, that's ultimately their plan. I personally think that there is going to need to be a season, like basically two different characters. You have your permanent character, right? And then you have your character that is on like the season, where they all get wiped at a certain point, right? That's basically to keep it fun for people who have played through the content, you know, so many times, etc. I would like to see something like that, very similar to you know, Diablo or something, some kind of dungeon crawler. I think it applies really well to this game. So we'll see what they end up doing, but they do need to test it with these like very extended periods of no wipes. So I mean, I get it. It's fine. And again, if there's nothing that like necessarily calls for a wipe in these patch notes, then that's cool. That's fine. Weapon parts and mods for the SA-58. That's exciting. The Mosin Nagant. Very, very, very exciting. Something that we've all been looking forward to for a long time. It'll be a nice addition to the game, I think, to have a cheap bolt action that that you can bring around. I don't think that they have decided on a price yet. Do we have a price for the Mosin? Has it been discussed? What's the meaning of a Mosin? We already have the SK. I find that, well, the Mosin's going to hit harder. It's going to be 7.62 by 5.4, not 7.62 by 3.9. So that's hype. We're not sure what it's going to cost, though. It's basically going to be a cheaper version of the SV98. All they said is be prop war level 1. Okay, very nice. Very nice. So if it's prop war level 1, it's not going to be very expensive. We definitely know that. SV98 and DVL-10 are bolt actions that barely touch people, way too weak. I think the Mosin will be a bummer. I think it depends on the ammunition, right? I think it's just because it's not that those two guns are particularly weak. I think it's that armor is very strong. And until they, you know, change the way that the meta currently is red cap, we're not going to see massive improvements. It's either get a headshot or don't, which is the case with just about any gun. As long as you can drop people in one shot with a headshot with any gun, snipers are never going to be that good. People don't understand that the value in any kind of sniper right now is 100% nothing more than the range advantage that you get on another player, right? That's your value. Is you're going to be able to play off of that range advantage. And then when they don't take advantage of that additional range, they think that the gun is not worth using. And that's fine, because a lot of the maps that are in game right now don't necessarily allow for that massive range to be effective. There are no massive range sightlines, not to the point of having to even range your gun at all, right? You don't have to change the ranging whatsoever at any point on any map right now. I truly believe that. You can aim a little bit high and get the kill almost every single time, as we do with like a, you know, a suppressed OPSKS, you know what I'm saying, with simply a PSO scope on it, right? You just don't need to range it because those sightlines don't exist. So I'm hoping that there's going to be more long range sightlines in game that allow for like these long range bolt actions and like the really long range scopes that literally not a single person in game uses, right? For them to have usefulness at some point down the road. Because it just right now, it doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. So new covert movement skill. Interesting. Do we know what this is going to affect? Does anybody have any information on covert movement skill? I assume it's just going to be another soft skill. And potentially, like, while you sneak around scavs, you know, you increase your covert movement skill. The more you do it, the less likely they are to aggro on you. You move quieter and stuff. It reduces sound. It reduces footstep sound. Okay. 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 That's good. That's interesting. We will see. Because right now, even with the absolute slow walk, the slowest walk possible, if you have contacts, you can 100% hear people. Even without contacts, you can still 100% hear people if you have a good enough audio setup for your hardware, right? Interesting. Interesting. Okay. The common bots are no longer aiming at the head. You know, I would say that's good, but if I've been shot in anything other than my legs by a scav in the last like 3 months, then I'll be damned. But yeah, I honestly haven't been headshot by a scav in as long as I can remember. Bots who have heard the sound of a firefight no longer look towards the potential target. Bots who have heard the sound of a fire. Oh, so I guess this means like you can't use a scav who is not aggroed to tell where a firefight is coming from. Okay, that's interesting. I kind of liked that they would turn towards the firefight. I almost liked this mechanic quite a bit, and I would use this, right, to my advantage, right? Instead of killing the scav, I'd use the scav almost as like an alarm, right? And I would keep eyes on that scav, and when it heard a sound of a firefight, it would look towards the potential target, and then I would know what direction the other players are. I think that's like a high skill mechanic, you know what I mean? I kind of liked that. Yeah, and for all of you sweaty realism nerds, that's pretty realistic. Of course it would turn towards the sound of a firefight. So I don't know if I like that they removed that. I actually don't like that. Scav exit from factory now doesn't overlap with the safe. Praise be. There's so many times I'd be trying to loot that safe. Even while like control clicking into your inventory, you couldn't loot the whole thing without extracting first, right? Adjusted the woods spawn points to avoid excessive spawn proximity. That's massive. That's massive. Because woods was still by far, in my opinion, the worst map for spawn proximity. Maybe other than, I don't know, customs. Customs is still really, really bad. Customs is literally just a slaughter at both ends and then like a boring mid to late game, in my opinion. But woods was pretty damn bad. Adjusted spawn points at customs. Oh, there you go. There you go. That's lovely. Fixed the factory door that was causing the invulnerability glitch. Oh, baby. So if you've ever been in a position in factory where you would be unloading on a person and you couldn't quite figure out why they weren't dying, you thought maybe they were cheating, maybe they're scripting, maybe they're hacking. They were utilizing this invulnerability glitch where they would get themselves stuck inside of the factory doors, right? And that would allow them to take no damage, and they could shoot completely uninhibited. They'd mow down the entire factory. Then they would leave their glitch and they'd loot everything. That's been a bug for quite some time. Very exciting that that has been fixed. Depleted consumable items now disappear from the quick access bar. Big. That was very frustrating because you would use all of a med, right? And it would still show it on one of the 2 quick access bars that pop up, right? And you would think like, oh yeah, that med's still good. Why can't I heal? Well, it's empty. It's empty. Feels bad, man. All right, visual fixes. Now the vegetation is not disabled regardless of NVIDIA inspector settings. Get wrecked, idiots. Using that shit. Can I get a young hashtag get wrecked in the chat, please? Peace be with them. Various server errors that were causing desync. Ooh, okay. That's cool. That's good to know. Various client errors that caused FPS to drop. Also very nice. Fix the sync of armor condition. Yes. Big when it's looted off of a dead body, because what you would see is you would see an armor and you would be making your decision. You'd be making your decision, right? Like, do I take his armor? Do I use my own, right? Should I dip mine and grab his? Is that the right play? Mine's insured, right? But you know, is his too low? Is his gonna give me less of a chance to actually get out alive, right? Because if that's the case, you don't necessarily want it. If you have to think about how many players are potentially left. You have to think about how far away you are from an extract point, right? All those things matter when you're considering this. And the worst thing was you would say, okay, his armor's not bad. It's like there's like 28 left on a gen, right? 28 left on a gen. Great, I'll take that. You take it, you don't notice that when it's on your body, it's like a 4. It's like a 0.4. It doesn't even matter, right? It's bullshit. It's like actually ruined, and you didn't know that because it wasn't synced. So like, then you get one tap to the chest and you're thinking, well, I had a Gen 4 on with so much armor, right? But it just wasn't the same. And that really sucks. That's a really bad feel. So that's a massive fix, because I noticed that a lot. That happened all the time. Fix bug that caused discarded weapons to bounce. I'm actually sad about this fix, man. I'm actually super sad, because kicking out a weapon and watching it bounce like super far away and in like the most ridiculous ways was so funny. That was honestly one of my favorite things to watch. Like, here, Deadly, here's your gun back. And Deadly would have to go chasing it down a fucking hill or something. Bummer. I love that, man. That was a feature, not a bug, lads. That was a feature. That was always good for the memes. Oh, feels bad, dude. Fix the bug that made the medkit unusable if a player was injured during treatment. Oh, medkit bug. Nice. Very nice. That's big. That is big. That's huge. Okay. Thank God. Thank God. Okay. Yeah, that one was very frustrating, because then you would have to like literally drag a different med from your inventory to... It would basically make your hotbar unusable as well. It'd make your hotbar completely unusable. So you'd have to enter tab every time you wanted to heal from then on out for the rest of the raid and drag a med to the thing that you wanted to heal. It was a mess. A mess. That's big. That's awesome. Fix the bug of character corpse disappearing after reconnect. That's big. That's really big. That one's really important, because you would get something would happen and you would bug out, right? Your inventory would bug out. Spaces inside of a backpack would bug out, and you had to relog to be able to regain those spaces or see what's inside of like this item or that item. And then when you reconnected, the body would be gone. And that was super frustrating, because then there goes all your juice. You can't loot whatever was left on the body. So super frustrating. I'm glad they fixed that. That's awesome. Fixed rate of fire linked to FPS problem. We'll have to test this. That's awesome though. I've always kept in mind that like I play this game at a high level. But if it weren't for a really good computer, there's no way that I would be able to be as dominant. You know what I mean? That's a fact. Like all these, like you see these broadcasters and they're really good at this game, right? So you're watching everybody with their really impressive like play styles, right? Just keep in mind, man, they're not gods. Like, yeah, they have a ton of time in game and they've gotten good. But on top of that, like having better performance in this game is a massive advantage. It is literally a massive advantage. So never feel bad. Like if you have a shitty computer, man, just never feel bad about your performance in this game. You are severely handcuffed. Severely handcuffed. If a player leaves the raid, leave the game via the escape menu, not through the exit, his character dies on the server. Not the case with the connection loss. That is big. Big. So you won't see these players that are just standing still, that are not doing anything, that are immune, right? Because they took their hatchling into Shoreline, they went to a specific room, they got their Bitcoin, and then they just escape, right? And leave the game. And they're done. Because they got what they wanted. They put it in their secure container and then they leave. That shit was so irritating. So 10 out of 10. Reduce the frequency of thunder sounds. Thank God that was brutal. Now glass doesn't break when you're just passing near it. Huge, because that would give you away at like 2-story dorms on customs or anything like that. And they added more information to some of the error messages. Great. And here's what y'all been waiting for. I mean, you guys have probably seen it. But can I get a non-stop MSTV wax in the god? In fact, I'll throw up an MSTV wax for the entire list of patch notes. There were plenty more awesome changes that I didn't get to cover in this video, so I definitely recommend combing through them when you have the time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my rundown on the changes in the 0.10 update that apparently I frequently consider big. Let me know what you guys thought of this video in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe for more content like this. If you'd like to be notified when these videos go live, click the bell next to the subscription button and join the notification squad. Also, be sure to tune into the live stream every day of the week starting at 7 a.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/MarkstromTV. Thanks for watching.